Father always said that, you know, this girl of mine, she can do it. So I think it was maybe because he believed so much in me that I started believing in myself that I can do anything. My earliest, even before IBA, was to become a secretary. I wanted to be an executive secretary. Later on, I thought, well, you know, why should I be a secretary? I should become an air hostess. Then I can travel the world. And so I was working at M&J with Javed Jabbar. And उस ज़माने में courier नया start हुआ था. So it was a human courier. Like I would carry, you know, my whatever parcels. So I was offered a job. So I came and I told Javed Jabbar, Javed sir, I have this job and I'm going to, you know, it's really very nice job. I'll have the opportunity to travel to so many different countries. And he said, my dear Shahnaz, why would you want to do that? Why don't you earn enough that you can travel wherever you want it, you know, using your own money? I went back home and I thought, oh my God, yes, he's right. You know, why should I be a courier? The director, Dean and Director IBA, Dr. Abdul Wahab, he was one of my mentors that, you know, I can never forget and can't be thankful enough for. So he stopped me and he said, why don't you teach at IBA? And I thought, I don't think I want to do that. I want to go to a multinational company and, you know, earn big time. But he said, no, you will stay here and you will teach. And I think that was perhaps what changed my entire life, my outlook, my career, everything. Because I was a young teacher and they were as young as me, sitting across, I could not stand there and lecture, right? Because I didn't have enough to lecture. So I started thinking of creative ways in which I could have them do activities. I didn't realize at that time that that was training. It was much later, and again another lucky break, that I got a job in Islamabad. And I joined a USAID organization supported by USAID, and they were reforming all the training institutes in Pakistan. It was called the Development Support Training Project. And we were working with 9 government training institutions. But the government institutions were not in a very good shape. So when the gaps were identified, it was realized that first and foremost, people don't even understand what training is about, you know, and how training should be conducted. The fact that training should be experiential and participatory, you know. The other very big area, missing area even today, is instructional design. You know, so if you want to do training on a very large scale, you have to design the training in a way that when you cascade the training, the quality does not erode. So that was a space that was completely unknown. Around the same time, USAID became very interested in private enterprise development. Now again, this was a completely virgin space. And private enterprise development, but entrepreneurship development for women was completely unknown. In 1989, there perhaps, you know, if you were to say, where are the women entrepreneurs, they would say there aren't any. So USAID gave me a free hand. Okay, please find out where are the best enterprise training program for women and come back and do an instructional design, create a curriculum and offer it. And this changed my entire life, if you like. This is how I got into this space. When I got married and my first son was on the way, I told them that, look, I think I want to set up my own business. And I want to set up the business of training. And I want to work with women entrepreneurs. And they said, who? That's really amazing. Why don't you do it? Give us a project. And that's how I started. My first 2 projects were given by USAID. I did the projects, very happy with it. And I thought, well, you know, I've done it. Now business will flow. For about 10 months, I sat around twiddling my thumb. You know, I had my laptop, I had my bedroom, I had a little baby, and I sat there. Because I'd done a good job. I thought I'd done a good job, and I was from the sector. I was from IBA. So one would kind of think, yaar, kuch to aa hi jayega. Kuch bhi nahi aaya. And we were literally hand to mouth. यहाँ तक के मैंने पहले तो shampoo, soap, ये चीज़ें बंद कर दी. I just felt embarrassed to ask for money from anybody. तो वो एक ऐसी जगह पे आप पहुंच जाते हो ना और फिर मैंने ना दूध बंद कर दिया. My son was at that time 1 year old. मैंने दूध भी बंद कर दिया because I couldn't afford it. जब मैं 9-10 महीने बैठी रही ना, because I had no work. So you know, one goes through that and realizes that not having money is one of the most demeaning, you know, kind of sense that one could have. It's a powerlessness. So I had to stick it out, if you like. I had to stick it out. I had to be patient. मेरा पहला project after 9 or 10 months was something at that time 3,000 रुपए का था. I was given 3,000 rupees to organize and implement an event, and I spent 4,000. You know, but that was the breakthrough. Within about, I think, 3 years, my company was completely established. Like my company was known as the organization to go to if you want to work on women entrepreneurship. So my husband passed away in almost 22 years ago, when my younger son was 2 years old and my older son was 10 years old. So, you know, bringing up 2 kids, we got a migration to Canada and we went there. So, you know, I always felt that, you know, I have to keep my children safe. I have to keep my children safe. When we came, then we decided to come back because 9/11 hit, and I thought, well, you know, we'll be safer in Pakistan. So we came here and we rented a place in F10, and it was a big bungalow. And wherever I used to go, I used to have one portion of the house was always dedicated to my office, because I always ran a home office. So we set up a home office, and it was a big bungalow, and unfortunately we were robbed one night. They didn't harm us personally, but they of course took off with everything they could find. But you know, it suddenly hit me that, you know, I travel a lot, and how do I keep my children safe? So I asked around, and I was told that Margala Towers is the safest. मैंने कहा चले ये this is the safest, तो यहीं पे जाते. So we rented an apartment on the 6th floor. Anyway, 9/11. Sorry, that's my line. 9/11. So October 2005. We were at home, all 3 of us, and suddenly the building starts shaking, and we were actually having fun because my elder son, he was on the treadmill, and my younger son and I, we were, you know, on the carpet just having fun. It was a Saturday. Had it not been a Saturday, everything would have been fine. I would have been home, but kids would not have. But anyway, it was a Saturday, and the building starts shaking. And so we ran out, everybody else also ran out, and I said, chalo, you know, everybody was running down the stairs. मैंने कहा चलो. And my oldest son, my Salman, he said, "Ke nahi, Mom, let's go through the emergency exit." And he ran towards it. My younger son ran behind him, and I ran behind him. And suddenly, as soon as my eldest put his foot on the exit stairs, the entire stairs gave way. अब मुझे ये तो नज़र आया कि वो गिर गया, लेकिन I couldn't see why. And then उसके पीछे my other son, and he fell, and a pillar fell on his left hand. Not left hand, his entire left body. And on his right hand side there was nothing. It was completely, everything had gone. It fell. And I was right behind. And you believe you me, एक scratch तक नहीं है, not a scratch, nothing. And all of this was happening in front of my eyes, and I felt like, you know, what do I do? I started calling, like, you know, obviously everybody was, you know, terrified for their own lives. They were running around, and koi bhi nahi aaya for almost, I think, 20 minutes. Then I went back, you know, I went back home, found my phone, and started calling my colleagues. So, koi mere khayal se 45 minutes, ghanta, I just stood there. My son was pinned, my other son fell, and I think almost mere khayal se 45 minutes to an hour. Then people started coming. Then they pulled Dani out. Dani was only 10 years old at that time. So that's the day when I lost my son. His name was Salman. I used to call him my man. कि वो मेरा pride है. I used to call him, you're my pride, he's my joy. So that day I lost my pride, and my joy was saved. So then I had to rethink I thought, when I never wanted to make my own house. I was a consultant, used to earn a decent amount, could have made a house. लेकिन हमेशा सोचा था कि यार घर बना के क्या फ़ायदा, लड़के हैं बड़े हो जाएंगे, God knows where they'll go. My mother always used to tell me, and I used to say, Mom, God knows where the kids might go, so why should I make a house? And that day I realized that I should have had my own house. It should have been a safe house. Maybe I shouldn't have come back from Canada. So I was starting to play with my ifs and buts and what if, and it's a dangerous place to be. So I realized that I don't want to do this. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to go back and think about that. So what can I do? And I thought that, well, first of all, let me do something in the name of Salman. Let me think, what is it that I can do to keep his memory alive? So that was the first thing I want to do. Second is, I want Dani to come back safe and sound. He was in the hospital for 2 years, in and out. He went through 17 surgeries. I thought, well, let me create a safe house for him. So that's my second priority. And my third priority is that I should stand again on my own feet. So given all of that, I thought, well, what do I do? What do I do with all this pain I have? I have to channel it somewhere. And I realized that you can do anything with the pain. Pain is a great force, like anything else, water, happiness. Pain is also a very big force. So I thought, well, how do I channel this pain into something that's productive? So I thought, well, let me, what do I do? And I thought, well, let me set up a safe house, first of all, first priority. तो अब मैंने पूछना शुरू किया कि यार मुझे घर चाहिए, मुझे घर देखना है. तो वो मुझे घर जो, and I only had 14 lakh rupees in my pocket at that time. So maximum I could mobilize is twice the amount. अब उस ज़माने में कोई अच्छा घर अगर चाहिए तो आपको कम से कम करोड़ चाहिए, 1.5 करोड़ चाहिए. तो मेरी जेब तो इतनी इजाज़त नहीं दे रही थी. तो फिर मैंने कहा कि प्रॉपर्टी एजेंट को कहा कि यार दिखाओ मुझे, क्या दिखा सकते हो. वो मुझे बड़ी सारे घर दिखाए, बट दे वर ऑल वेरी बिग, छोटा छोटा डरबा, वेरी डार्क, वेरी dinky, and I thought, no, this is not where I want to live. I can't have my son here. So eventually he brought me here. There's a story behind this, that we went to Kingston Island. और जो Kingston Island है ना, there are 1,000 islands there. So we took a boat ride, Dani, Salman and I. And Salman was about 13, 14 at the time. तो वहाँ islands मुख्तलिफ sizes के होते हैं ना. So Salman, the kid that he was, he said, Mom, someday I'm going to buy you an island. And of course we laughed and had fun. जब मुझे property agent यहाँ लाया तो यहाँ कुछ भी नहीं था. There was not a single house in this whole basin. And he brought me there, over there. और उस दिन बारिश हो रही थी तेज़, and this Korang was overflowing. And it seemed like that, the flashback was the Kingston Island. And Salman saying, Mom, I'll buy you an island one day. And to me, this looked like an island because कुछ भी नहीं था. It was just green. So I told this guy, I said, this is it. This is the place I want to be. तो he said, अच्छा कितना चाहिए आपको? तो मैंने कहा कि यार 1 कनाल कितने का है? तो 1 कनाल 20 लाख का, ये 14 लाख का था. मैंने कहा यार 1 कनाल लेके मैं क्या करूँगी? तो 2 कनाल कर दो. फिर मैंने कहा 2 कनाल लेके क्या करूँगी? रोज़ मैं जाऊँगी, रोज़ मैं आऊँगी. नहीं ऐसा करो, दफ्तर भी इधर ही कर देते हैं. तो 4 कनाल कर दो. Then I asked my partner, he said, ठीक है मैं भी यहाँ बना लूँगा घर. मैंने कहा अच्छा चलो 5 कनाल कर दो. इस तरह करके that day on the spot मैंने 1 करोड़ का सौदा किया था. Now, I was just telling you the quotation that, when you really want something and you want something really badly, then the universe conspires to make it happen. मैंने सोचा कि 14 लाख रुपए है, 2-3 कॉल किए. मैंने कहा कि यार मुझे 1 साल का मोहलत दो, मैं तुम्हें 1 साल में पे करूँगी. Believe you me, within 3 months, I had enough money to pay off the land. Just projects came out of the blue. Everybody started snickering behind my back कि यार ये क्या पागल, because I went to an architect and asked her to make the drawing, because I believe that if you can visualize something, if you can see it, then again the chances of it happening are very big. So I would go, and this was my therapy. I didn't go to a psychologist. I went to my architect, and I would tell her, okay, design my training institute. No, let's do it like this. No, I want it like this. My house, I want it like this. I want windows there. I want this. I want a skylight. I don't want a dark house. You know, believe you me, that was my therapy. I would stand there and tell everybody, look, see that plot? This is where the office will be, and this is where the house will be, and this is how it will look. And everybody would say, she's poor thing, you know, she's going through pain. You cannot imagine, within 4 years, this entire complex and the house, all done. 4 years, not 1 rupee of grant, not 1 rupee of loan. I didn't take a loan from anybody, no grant. It's just my will and I think a bigger force up there that made it happen. I wish I had a mentor all along. You know, I think I tried very hard on my own and made big mistakes. Somehow to reach out and find a mentor and have, you know, gain from a mentor, I think I missed out on that. I think women are luckier today. Today there are lots of programs where, you know, they can access mentors, they can access people that can guide them. I felt very lonely throughout my journey. The other thing is that corruption. There's a huge appetite for corruption, you know, and no matter where you go, there's always an expectation कि मैंने बहुत सारे projects छोड़ दिए because I knew that I would be expected to pay. Rent seeking, so that is really rampant, and that's something that I never felt comfortable doing. So I think for me, yeah, it was a lonely journey. Never unhappy, but lonely. Yeah.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah, I've never been. I don't allow myself to be unhappy. I could be unhappy about many things, but I think it's good not to be. Somehow, you know, I believe that my son is still very much here with us. And it's a bit of an uphill task now because I sold my previous company, then reset, and now the company is called Mera Maan. Earlier the complex was called Mera Maan and the company was called something different. Now the company is called Mera Maan. So when I went to Harvard and came back, I reactivated the company. And we'll see how it goes. It's slow moving, but it'll happen.